Hello, my name is Norman Cunningham, and I'm here to talk about still game for the Valley. So just for those of you who are not familiar, the name comes from the fact that we are occupying a piece of land in Maryhill, which was formerly, it's still known as the Valley, but it's more significant for the fact that it was the shooting location for the TV programme, Still Game. In fact, all the houses are gone, as I'll explain as we go on, but the block of flats that Jack and Victor lived in is still there. Osprey House, as it was known, it's still there, but I think its days are numbered, as I'll explain. So, just to give you a wee bit of background, I'll show you first of all what used to be there. This is looking from Maryhill Road, just by Maryhill Locks on the canal, if anybody's familiar with that. I'll show you a map in a minute. So this is what it used to look like. It's actually up on a high point, it's the highest point around there. It's prime real estate. These are the houses that used to be there. The old just pre-World War council housing type things. There were tenements. The whole area was covered in, was built up with these tenements, but they decided Collina Street was going to get demolished for various reasons, which they then refurbished the houses, the same houses at the bottom of the hill, and they still stand today. But these ones they got rid of for whatever reason they came up with at the time. That's what it used to look like. And this is about the time when we were filming Still Game. This is prior to demolition. The demolition was carried out in 2007. So they cleared probably over 500 people out of these homes and slowly ran them down, boarded them up, and then the bulldozers moved in. So this is a wee map of where I'm talking about. You've got the canal here, and on the other side is the River Kelvin with the Kelvin walkway. Just a stone's throw down here is the Botanic Gardens. And just here, running along here, is Maryhill Road. So this bit of land here, and because it's raised, which you don't get from this photograph, you've got views right out to the Campsie Hills and beyond. It's, as I said, prime real estate. West End, it's what they're trying to do is make this part of the West End by, as I'll explain as we go on. So that's the actual bit of land itself. It's 3.5 acres. It's not flat. It's challenging, if you like, in terms of any building that needs to go in there, but not impossible. So, now these houses here, which are new builds, just here and here, these are Maryhill Housing Association. They're all mid-market rent, quite expensive. Some of them are shared equity ownership, so, you know, private houses by any other name. That's looking from the bit of land down. And they look quite attractive, these houses, these mid-market rent places. But they're actually now developing a lot of problems because they look nice, but they're thrown up cheap and cheerful. And then, you know, 10 years later, they're starting, well, even 10 years, 8 years, I think they've been up. They're starting to have problems with water ingress and draftiness and the usual stuff. So, I'll just go back. So what happened? A wee bit of the history is that bit of land has been vacant since 2007, and it became a local amenity, if you like, for dog walkers, for kids to play on, and it just became part of the area. A sign went up in October last year that the land was for sale, big billboard thing. And that was the first anybody had been told about it. That was the first we knew. And it was the first that actually came to people's consciousness that it was able to be sold. So as it turns out, it's owned by Glasgow City Council, and we looked into it further and found that the prospectus that was put out, the marketing material, was for a private development of up to 350 houses. And they put it up for sale, for tender, basically. It was more symbolic. It was saying to the council, we're here, and this is our land. This is, you know, this is, you think you own it, but what we were saying to them is, you're the guardians of this land on our behalf. You're the caretakers, and you're not doing a very good job of it if you're selling it out. So that was part of our statement. The other thing was, we had someone offered us a whole lot of a tree surgeon business, offered us a whole lot of wood chips. So there was a lot of paths on the land from people, what's the name for that? The paths become, because people walk there. People walking their dogs, people taking shortcuts, all the rest of it. So we lined all the paths with wood chip. And that was appreciated by the local community. The next step was these young people decided to build a community garden. And that's what went on. That land itself was actually just rubble, with a wee bit of soil and clay on top of it. Once you dug about a foot into it, it was just rubble from the demolition. So it was really, really hard work. And this is, so most of the people who have been working actively on this are university students from Glasgow Uni, who are all mostly living rent members as well. That's how they got to know about this action and got involved. So there's us with the buffet. And I think that's the end of it. So I could stand here all day showing photographs and talking about community gardens, but this isn't a gardening conference. So what I want to do is tell you from there where we got to, where it's up to today. So, first of all, the good news is that the land is no longer up for sale. But who knows how long that will be. So, that's a victory. The second part of the campaign was that we decided I looked into this community right to buy legislation. And after a lot of research, I thought, we could do this. So the thrust of the campaign is to achieve the right to buy the land as a community. And we're in the process of doing that. Now, the legislation itself, which on the surface looks great, is actually designed around rural communities, places, you know, in the Highlands and places, maybe even the Isle of Egg being one of the biggest ones that people know about, and recently Langham down in the borders. But it's not designed for urban community buyouts. Occasional people would buy a church somewhere and convert it into a wee community centre and that sort of thing. If we achieve this, it will be the biggest urban community buyout in Scotland. Okay, so there's a lot at stake here. And excuse me if I get a wee bit emotional, but I've put a lot of my life into this. First time that this has happened to me. Anyway, so in order to be considered for a community buyout, we have to form a community body. The first thing we look, there's three or four ways of being a recognised community body. We pursued being a charity, first of all, and we just kept getting stonewalled there as well. So we've now formed a community body, which is a company limited by guarantee. And we have a board, etc. So we've now been officially recognised as a community body. We're in the process now of putting forward our application. So if we're successful, what it means is that if the land comes up for sale again, we get the first, the right of first refusal. So that will be a big, big step. The council were talking about getting 9 million quid for this bit of land. Well, I'm not even thinking about the money. If we get the right to buy it, we'll find the money. So, where we're up to now is that under the legislation, we've got to get 10% of the people on the electoral roll who live within that area to sign and agree that they support the right, the buyout. We've estimated there's about 8,000 people live in that immediate area, so we've got to get 800 signatures. But that's if you actually applying to buy it before it goes up for sale. Because it's been put up for sale, we have to get significantly, that's what the legislation says, significantly more than 10%. And we're reckoning on, we have to get about 1,500 signatures on a bit of paper. So that's one thing. The other side of it is we've no money, we've no resources. We've got very few people actively supporting. We've probably got 20 to 25 students mostly. Very few people from the local community are actually actively involved in this. I was writing and posting on Facebook quite a lot all through the campaign because we were saying people can't come out because of lockdown. Can't do this because of lockdown. Can't do that because of lockdown. Lockdown finished and nothing changed. Stuff I was putting up on Facebook, I was getting 300-400 likes. But it seems like in this day and age, people pressing the like button on a Facebook post is the extent of their community involvement. I can't change that. But what we can do is keep bashing on, and we're starting a door knocking campaign to try and get these signatures. We've got no money, so we've got no resources in terms of publications, flyers to put it, and all the rest of it. The other thing I need to say here is, sorry, time? 5 minutes? Okay. I've got a big story to tell and I'll try to condense it. In the course of last year, or this year, I've contacted lots of academics who've got interest in these sort of things. Lots of professionals, architects, planners, etc., etc. And they all think it's a great idea what we're doing. But as soon as I've asked them to actually do something to help us, they all disappear. Right. So, one of the things I'm here today for is to let you know that in terms of occupation, apart from Faz Lane, this is the only one happening in Glasgow. I'm here to ask for support, for you to spread the word, and I don't know how you can help, but what I need, apart from this money, but what I need is for the word to go out, and somewhere there'll be people who can help us. We've got a hardcore of young people, students, etc., but they've got their own commitments, they've got their own studies and all the rest of it to do. At the moment, the occupation consists of people turning up on a Saturday to help dig and do a bit towards the community garden. Other than that, in terms of the land, there's not a lot going on. But there's a lot going on behind the scenes in terms of committee meetings and things to try to plan and find our way through this. The rest of it are young, people in their early 20s, students who've got lots of energy and lots of ideas, but they don't have the experience to, push this along or the contacts. So what we're looking for is people who maybe were involved in the Govan Hill to come and share their experience to help us with their taking on the council. The council have been totally at arm's length. They obviously want to sell the land. So all we've managed to do is head them off a wee bit, but we haven't actually put a total stop to it. And that'll only happen once we get the right to buy it. Scottish Government don't want to know. I've tried pleading, asking to negotiate, I've tried shaming them and all the rest of it. They just keep ignoring us, hope we're going away. But we're not going away. And that's why I'm here today.